this is exciting.
Greetings from Colwick parkrun.
Cooey, not Colwick parkrun. Cooey to you all.
I've even put my jeans on for the 3rd time since March last year for you, Danny.
I can't get in mine. There's no way I'd fit him. I think I'd be able to. I'd have to stitch my 2 legs together, and they've still struggled to get around one of my legs at the moment. So, oh my goodness gracious me. Hi everybody. Hello, welcome. Hello, Helen Hoods. Long time no see.
Hello, Danny Norman.
How you doing?
How's everybody? How's the parkrun family today?
They're very good. Let's have a quick check-in. Craig Miles was first in on YouTube. Dave Sabby Williams, afternoon all. Callum Barrell, Val Perigo, Emma Shaw, and the usuals. Kerry French. Hello, Kerry. Yay, perfect timing for my lunch stop. Great glovage. Oh, hang on. No, that's Helen Hood in the house. Hang on a minute. Where did that go? Karen Spackman. There it is. Great glovage. There you go. So praising the gloves. And then Emma Shaw. Helen is... Oh, it just disappeared. Helen is one of the most enthusiastic people ever about parkrun. Her energy is infectious to anyone around her. Isn't that lovely? Ah, there you go. Look at this. Someone's a bit popular today. Hello, Helen. She is amazing, they say. There we go. Jeans on is a great result. Hello to Danny. Thanks, Amanda, for not forgetting about me. Hello. Hi, Danny and Helen. But also, we have Gaby Neher with us as well. Right. Yes. Hello. Let's take the comments off. Right then, let's big up the screen so we can see what Hughes is up to and where he's at. Well, we know where you are. It's very blustery at the moment.
It is, because we're standing right next to our wind turbine.
Right, of course.
So we can
which is
whip round for you.
It's going nuts. Look at how fast it's spinning. It's generating electricity, which is good. That's a good sign. Yeah. That's sustainable.
So we're just standing near the start now.
Right.
Ready to go. So we thought we'd walk around with you. We'll just let these people go on ahead first.
Are they going the right direction? Or are they going the wrong way around?
So if you can see that little post over there, Danny.
You just got stared at by that lady. That lady just looked at you. She was like staring at you, saying, "What are you up to?"
They probably think we're nuts.
Start post, right? Yeah. So, there it is.
So that's been there because, of course, we don't really allow start posts now or signs around the course, but that's been there for 9 years, and it was put in before I sort of came in as co-event director. But the council paid for it and did it all for us, and they said, "Well, make the signs really subtle so that they don't sort of stand out too much in this lovely natural environment." And then actually, most people never see them, so they're so subtle you never even know they're there. Right. So sometimes we've had people who've come up to us after like 4 or 5 years of running with and say, "Oh, I've just found the 3K sign." So on the way round, I'll try and point a few out. So,
yeah. Okay.
So shall we set off?
We shall, and just make sure that Gaby isn't sliding into the water nearby because she's tilted.
Okay.
Gaby, she tilts a little bit.
If you just turn back around to the start, Gaby, this is our start line here.
Run brief. My goodness, I can't keep up.
And then you'd be addressing the crowd, so it's all standing down there.
Super.
So if we go back to our very first event in June 2011, we had 23 people, and I think our biggest turnout's been 579 or something like that, which was a New Year's Day when people had hot-footed it over from Gedling to us for the 10 o'clock start.
Look how well prepared you are with all your stats. Bring in your stats to the table for Colwick parkrun. Someone's been doing the homework.
I can't remember anymore.
Okay.
We've got a notepad. We've got everything prepared.
What river is that?
Yeah, so we're setting off. We're setting off now. We always say 3, 2, 1, go, and then we always ring the Colwick bell here.
Okay. Oh yes. Ding 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 ding.
So we ring the bell from the first person crossing the line until the very last person crossing the line, which is of course our tail walkers.
Super.
So here we go.
And you have lots of Nordic walkers as well, don't you? You do get quite a few Nordics.
Lots of Nordic walkers, yeah.
Yeah. That river. That river's that's a Trent, isn't it?
That is. That's the River Trent. And then if you look over the other side, that's Home Pierpont.
Of course, yes. Yep.
As well. So
Robin Hood Marathon.
Very close, but you can't get over it too easily. So sometimes when people are coming for the triathlons, they always email Colwick and say, "Oh, how near is it?" We say, "Well, you have to come over Lady Bay Bridge," so they can't just hop over easily.
It's the Outlaw. Is it the Outlaw that's there?
I think the Outlaws.
Something like that.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
There's two. There's one at Home Pierpont and. Oh no, it's Home Pierpont. Yeah. I'm not very into triathlon, Daddy, to be honest.
No, this is fair enough. I think Tom Williams had one of his best performances there one time. I know that the marathon goes around, the Robin Hood Marathon. Is that right? It goes through.
Yeah. Well, when the marathon was on, because the marathon, of course, hasn't been on in Nottingham for the last few years.
Yeah.
But when it was, the marathon used to come through Colwick Park.
Right.
And we did turn out quite a big volunteer team from the Colwick parkrun community to support it.
Right.
And then we used to get a few other parkruns involved as well.
Okay.
And they used to all come over. We probably had about 30 people.
Oh, nice. Okay. Very good.
Lovely. So this is we call this a small lake, but during lockdown, Finley and I came and we did some canoeing.
Right.
And we've never done canoeing ever in our lives. It was £8 for an hour. We had a lovely time.
That's very good, considering. Very active. I'd like to do more stuff like that. Brian Thompson says, I know it's very windy where you might.
Brian Thompson from Newark.
He's just
Hello from up the road.
the trend.
Yep. Hello from up the road in Newark. Helen and Fraser helped us to start as their first activation.
That's
there
right.
You go.
It was our first activation. I remember it really well. It was such a great team in Newark. And Brian Thompson, interesting character, because he's got a letterbox in his kitchen. Can you remember that, Danny?
A letterbox.
Yes. Is it the Victorian
Postbox.
one, isn't it? Yeah, the Victorian
Yeah.
postbox. Is that right? Yep.
Yeah, he let me know that. That was quite interesting. Right. So somewhere
Let him
along
restore.
here, we've got the 4K marker. Because, of course, as I said, you do the small lake once, you run around the big lake, and then you come around the small lake again.
Mm-hmm.
So when we wander along here, I can just see it. Can you see it, Gabby? Coming up on the left here.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Shall I just run towards it?
Go on the left.
I'm just going to do some running. We're just going to do some running. I mean, it's a park run, right? So.
Funny you made that noise. Louise West just said, hello, Gabby is totally crazy. There you go. Next marker.
Yeah. Off we go again.
Emma Shaw. Glad Helen confirmed we don't really allow signs now. Was prepared for a request for Perry Hall. Of course.
I didn't hear that.
But don't worry about it.
So when you get to about here on the course, people are just starting to spread out a bit more now.
Yep.
So that works out quite nicely. Because we're not a particularly big park run, sort of average around 200-ish, 250 a week. But then in the winter, we do lose quite a lot off our field because it's so muddy,
Right.
so puddly, and then people prefer to go to sort of higher ground, if you like. And we've got so much choice around here as well. So, you know, you don't have to come here. But then there's some people who absolutely love the mud and the puddles.
Yeah, no,
cross country
absolutely.
venue as well.
Yeah.
So if you want mud in Nottingham, you come up here to Colwick and Colwick Woods.
We'll have a practice.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And the running clubs around here are really scary because they're really good at cross country as well. So we sort of further down, you know, sort of where it's a bit drier in Beeston, we're very scared of the running clubs around here.
I'm just going to show something. So you may be able to see this. Gabby should be able to see this on her screen whilst you're walking. I'm going to big it up. The map. Here's the course map. So I'm just showing. I'm zooming in.
Yeah.
So you're going to go around the small lake first,
Lake,
right?
yeah, that's right.
Okay. The marina, home pier point. So there's home pier point over the other side.
Yeah.
Cricket pitch is just over the side. Nottingham racecourse. You'll be going. That'll be sort of nearest you.
Yeah.
Around.
I've just come past that on the way into the park. That's just kind of over the other side, well, straight in front of us as we're walking down.
Right, I'm just zooming out. So you're the east, and people, if you're wondering, you're east of Nottingham Central. So if you're wondering where it is, there you go, it's just there. Zoom out on a map. Right, I can get rid of that and come back to you guys. Let's pick you up again.
Yeah.
Questions for you.
East
right.
of Nottingham Centre.
Yep, east of Nottingham Centre it is.
We're ready.
Yep. So Karen Spackman, well, it's not really a question. I've not seen it written before. I thought it was spelled Colwick, C-O-L-I-C. We just had a discussion about that. No, it's Colwick.
Yes. We were just talking about that earlier, weren't we? Because people who aren't from around here think it is Colwick, but it's actually pronounced Colwick. And Neil McEwen, who was our first event director here at the very beginning, he was South African and he used to say Colwick. And we got shortlisted for an award. And I said to him, if you win it, make sure you don't go on stage and say Colwick. But he remembered, but we didn't win it anyway, so he didn't have to do that. So that was all right. And then a few months later, he left, and Steve and I took over as co-event directors. Okay. And then we've been here ever since. So
it's in the Doomsday Book as Col's Witch, which seems to suggest that Col was actually a man called Col. and the which means an industrial site. So it's not quite clear what the industrial site was. We're close to mining sort of area, but Colwick itself hasn't actually been mined. So it's kind of interesting part because the kind of Yorkshire coalfields are just to the west here, but Colwick itself is not mining area. So Colwick is probably referring to the mills. There were lots of flour mills around here.
You sure? See, I thought it was named after Colin Wick, the first man who founded Nottingham.
I'm just not
years
sure.
ago.
You must
No,
be
is it
using
not?
You must be using a different version of the Doomsday Book to me, Danny.
Yeah, absolutely different etymology of research. My end. I thought it was named after Colin Wick, very famous Nottingham man. Obviously, I got my information and sources wrong. Can we have a look at the path a little bit as you're going along? Is that okay? If we just look forwards, as if you're I mean straight ahead, not down at your feet.
Look, this is the top view of the lake. Look, if you look round here now.
Oh, that's
there you go,
one.
next to the lake.
What a beauty! So we've just started off over there
good
where
shot.
that climbing wall is.
Yep.
So
You're going along at some pace. You're walking quite swiftly, aren't you?
We're speedy walkers.
Subjective question for you, Emma Shaw. What's your post-parkrun cafe like?
Oh, it's fantastic. We have got a fantastic postman cafe. So there's no cafe in the park. There are some toilets nowhere near the start, but the cafe is about a mile sort of back towards town. It's called the Daleside Cafe. Mm-hmm. And when we first opened, we weren't using it, but we got in touch with them and asked if we could. And they said, yeah, you can come on in. We don't mind if you're muddy. You can bring dogs if you like, as long as you keep them out of the way and they're well behaved. We'll even put the radiators on for you. And they do us a discount. Wow. Everybody loves it. Daleside Cafe, they do brilliant omelettes. It's just fantastic. Cups of tea.
That makes sense.
And we've held a few socials in there over the years.
Oh, there you go.
And then we used to have in the early days, we don't do it now, but we used to do like annual prizes, which we stopped about 5 years ago. But one of the annual prizes, we used to have a community prize, and we gave it to the Daleside Cafe one year. And we all stayed behind to talk to the staff in the Daleside Cafe, and I pulled this trophy out from behind my back. And as I pulled it out from behind my back, I caught it on my leg, and it smashed into thousands of pieces on the floor, Danny.
Ouch.
So that was a bit embarrassing. But we just got a new one made, and it still sits in their cafe on the shelf to this day. So they love us, and we love them, and we know all the people in there by name, and it's fab. Right, sharp corner here. Sharp corner here, Gab.
Common sense, and it's symbiotic as well, isn't it, for cafes to work with communities like yourselves. Yeah. Anthony, how often does it flood?
Well, in all the time, because we've hardly had any cancellations over the last, we're 10 in June this year. We haven't had many cancellations. A couple for really severe ice, because our ground holds it quite well. Yeah. But we've had one severe flood that I remember, which is on the far corner of the big lake, where the black swan can be seen if you're lucky. Yeah. And then the whole path went. And that's the only time in the sort of the nearly 10 years I've been here that I've known that happen. Other than that, we've never had to amend our course ever in the whole time we've been here.
Super.
Although I will tell you a little story about our course.
Go on then.
Well, I'll wait till we get a bit nearer to it.
Okay, right. It's the Here Mood. I must have missed Gabby on my visit to Beeston a while back. All I remember is the brilliant cafe by the Marina Parkrun special for $1.95 at the time, and the bikes. There you go.
Yeah, Beeston's got a fantastic cafe as well.
He's hiked the price up to £2. £2 now.
Okay. There's lots of mud lovers.
Deep scratchy puddle right now.
Valperigo, I like muddy parkruns, the muddier the better. Another mud lover from Karen de Salvo.
Parkrun we activated actually, Danny, Fraser and I. And I can remember when we went on the week before to do the trial. Maybe was it the actual day? It might be the actual day or the week before. We went to look at the course, and we turned the first corner. You know, when you're running down towards the river. And there was a massive big blue sewage pipe right across the path. And we said, well, that's just the kind of thing you have to be ready for, don't you? So everyone would have had to hurdle it. I think it must have been on the test evening or something. I'll have a photograph of it somewhere.
Okay, let's look at the path now, Gabby. We can just see trees. Once we come into the big, no, not the actual path. I meant the path ahead. No, not the path behind it. When it goes into the trees,
some of the mud. There's some good mud here.
Yeah, when we go to the tree patch, don't just look at look at where you're going. Right, we have to do some practice on the camera work with you. Right, John Japp. When I ran it,
after Helen. I'm busy. I'm busy.
yeah, I can tell how fast you're moving.
It's a
John
constant
Japp.
learning curve, isn't it?
It is.
So-
When I ran at Colwick, it was so foggy. Let's look at the path ahead, Gabby. Not the lake. Look ahead. That's it. Thank you. When I ran at Colwick, it was so foggy. I had no idea where I was, and then suddenly there was the finish. So John Japp's been up your way.
Yes, he has. No, John Japp. So just here on the left-hand side, there was a fence, and on that fence, that's where the 1K marker was.
Yep.
So when that fence went, the 1K marker went with it. We just noticed that a few years ago.
Okay, gotcha. Lots of love for the Parkroompedia from Gabby. People loving the park craft more than the park run. What a beautiful day, says Amanda Murray Hind. Kerry French is a huge fan of mud too. Oh, it's so windy. Darren Roberts, just back from my faff blimming cold out there. What's the temperature up there, guys? Do you know?
Freezing. Freezing is around freezing.
Okay.
The wind chill's down to about -4, but the sun's actually making it a lot more comfortable. Yeah, it's lovely.
Karen Spackman, do any of the marshal positions have special names?
Just coming to that now, Daddy. So we're
There we
just
go.
now coming up to Roy's Split.
Yep.
So
That's why I brought it up.
stay here, and I'll just run ahead and I'll just pretend to be Roy. So Roy used to stand here, and when people ran round the lake, he would tell them to go right down Roy's Split there. And then if they'd been round the second time, then he'd tell them to go that way. But his little joke was always to tell you to go round that way again, even though it's time to go home. And unfortunately, we lost Roy during lockdown. He was just one of our most loved parkrun people. He was 84 when he died, and he used to come with his wife, Jackie, for many, many years. Jackie was a 100 clubber. She volunteered as well, and he always volunteered, and this was his spot. And everybody loved him. If he had a week off, people were bereft, like, where's Roy? Or he's having his cataracts done and things like that. And then towards the end, he just got a little bit too poorly to come and volunteer for us. But he just used to come every now and again. So when we had our Hawaiian shirt day, or I think he came for 2 Hawaiian shirt days in a row, and he came for a Christmas one, just to see us. And he came and stood here with his coat, and people were just running past and high-fiving him or hugging him. And, it was just wonderful. And we were so glad that he was part of our family, really. So absolutely,
that's the thing. But it's the thing we've always learned, is it for park run, that people come into your lives. It's sad when you lose it, but it's fantastic they got brought into our lives that they may not have otherwise.
And obviously because he went during lockdown, nobody could go to his funeral, and if we had been able to, we would have all gone in our parkrun tops, and it would have been a real celebration of his life. Now, so I went to his funeral online, and of course there was just a limited number of people there, but his family, they all got in touch with us and said, that just the support and the love that they got from seeing the reaction to him on Facebook, because it was probably our most viral post ever when we announced that, and we talked about how, one of our most loved ones, and I think it really helped the family get through it, and we're really looking forward to coming back and being able to celebrate his life at Parkrun again.
Yep, absolutely.
So let's carry on. So let's go down Roy Split even, and then Roy Split turns into what we like to call Shoe Sucker Straight.
I've often had my trainer sucked off.
But when we get to it, so this is like the bit on the course that gets the most muddy, puddly, grim, and some people try and go around it, and there's just no point. And so the people who are at the finish line, we leave a couple there to keep an eye on, like the defib and stuff at the finish, but most of the other finish line volunteers walk over to here and stand and clap and support the people running past. And we're always, and Finley stands there and he goes, "Don't go round it, just go through it," and then other people are shouting that, and it's madness at certain times of year. It's hideous part of the call.
So it's fair to
volunteer,
Helen,
a lot more than a run.
Fair enough. Would you say, well, at that particular point, then it's fair to say there's a lot of sucking off at Colwick Park Run, right? with the trainers in the mud.
This is Shoe Sucker Straight. So if you can see now, it's all super icy. I'm here in the walking boots, but this is normally pretty tough along here.
That's not going to suck any trainers off, is it?
To the left or the right, you're also still going to be in it.
Okay.
Trail shoes. We are trail shoes, people.
You've influenced the naming. Ali Shepherd, we have a Shoe Sucker Straight at Walthamstow. Never called it that. We'll do now.
So if we just stop here, Gary, just you point your camera over there. So looking back to where those sort of 2 trees are and those people are, that's kind of where our finish is.
Yeah.
So what happened in the very, very early days, we were saying about the course, although we've never changed it, it's about week 6, because I came along to this part run week 3, and I was volunteering on maybe week 6, and then Steve Dickens, who is the only original person left from our team, our first team, he was standing at the finish line with me and Fraser and a couple of other people, and he said, "Oh, I think they've just gone wrong." And he said, "I think we've been running the course wrong." And even though the course was measured to come this way, people have been staying on the other path of Roy's Split and running along that path in front of us there, between this path and the finish area, and then turning back onto the correct course. So Fraser reckons it was probably 150 metres long for the few weeks we did it wrong. So, but as soon as Steve realised, he said, "Oh, I think we've got to sort that for next week." So we got back on the right course, and we've never changed anything on the course
Better
since.
to be longer. It's better to be longer than shorter, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things. Somebody had gone. The person at the front had gone that particular way, and everyone else had followed.
Okay.
And I think another little interesting fact about the first park run, when we had 23 people, 12 volunteers, the first finisher at the very first event is called Ben Norris.
Let's have a look at Helen, by the way. Gaby.
Poet and actor, and he plays Ben Archer in The Archers. How's that for a good fact? Should we carry on?
Oh wow! So you got an archer? Okay, fair enough. I didn't know that.
No, I don't think he's ever been back since.
Well, you need them in Nottingham archers, you know, with the Robin Hood and everything. We can't just have random triathletes. We need archers.
I've never listened to an episode of The Archers, and I feel like I feel like I've left out.
What's she say?
Squelch.
Oh, here we go.
The mud.
Yep.
Look at the mud.
Frozen mud.
Moving along shoe-sucker straight as we speak, just coming out of it a bit now.
Helen, may I say, thank you for coming along and doing this. And there's a couple of
Pleasure.
reasons for this, because obviously, thank you for taking time out of your day to come along and accompany Gaby while doing this. I love having you on here, and the fact that you have such a history and insight, and of course, the ability to present and speak to everybody. But this, in a nutshell, is something that I really wanted to do going further forward, where we could go around, the technology available to go around to different parkrun locations. You can go anywhere globally and do this, and have somebody that's inherently a part of the team, has been there for a long time, has such a vast knowledge, and then present it to us and showcase the park run. And there's 2,000 plus park runs that you can do this for, and this is just, I think, something which will happen. We'll certainly want to do a lot more going forward.
We just want to negotiate a tricky section of ground.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which is good. Stuck in the mud. Sorry.
So I wanted to.
It opens up a whole new world of options for you to do some new.
It does.
If you look over that way, that's the big lake over there.
We need to stop the mics now. It's really windy. Can you block the mic by any chance, Gaby? Can you put your hand over it?
I think we're going to go to the trees now, so we'll block the wind now.
Okay.
So,
we're seeking shelter.
Okay.
I was just going to somebody asked earlier on about whether we have any particular marshal spots.
Yeah,
what I would just say is I wanted to just particularly talk about Dave Robinson as well, who's another one of our really much loved parkrun family that we lost last year. And this, just about here, we have an arrow usually, which is sign 10. And when Dave got really poorly, he used to just email in and say, "Oh, Helen, I want to come down and be part of it, but I'm not really well enough to be out for long. So have you got a marshal spot I can do?" And so this is kind of a nice to have marshal spot. So Dave could, when he was quite poorly, could come to the start and enjoy the sort of the buzz and the anticipation and excitement of the start line. And then he'd walk over here, often with his grandson Oliver, and they'd stand here and volunteer. And as soon as everybody had gone past, and he could just bring the sign and come in and enjoy the finish, but go and sit in the car or go home if he felt a bit tired. So that was, again, a really nice way to have him as part of the community. And again, somebody who we really loved, we really miss, and and whose whole family have benefited, all 3 generations who have benefited from being here. Dave also used to go to the 5K Your Way when it was at Forest Rec once a month with Lucy, and then they'd go up to Sherwood Pines where some of his family lived as well. So, again, just so lucky to know these people, have them as part of our lives, really.
Yep, and absolutely.
Sign 10 was like Dave's special spot. So, so let's carry on along here, back into the trees. I like this. This is a nice part of the course, I think. It's not too muddy today.
No, it's not so bad around here. I'm just going to address it.
I was a it down in the summer
It's
because
so chatty, Helen.
like our courses were so awful last winter, and then the winter before last, and then of course this year was beautiful, and we couldn't run. So
Yeah.
it was a bit of a shame. We missed out on the Colwick at its absolute best, although it's beautiful now.
Well, yeah, and going into spring and summer, fingers crossed, Helen. Hopefully, you never know. You'll be able to do it. Fingers crossed. I'm just going to address a couple of comments because obviously I'm stirring people's energies about doing things. Valperigo, me and Claire Allison could do our parkrun, but we don't have a gimbal. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if more people buy gimbals, but it's also the data usage. There's a big old chunk of data usage. If you have unlimited, it does cost, then that helps too. Otherwise, you can kiss goodbye to your monthly allowance on your contract. But yeah, the next level content, says Stuart Brownwood, for parkrun addicts, absolutely for the tourism. Bimbling with a gimbal, Itchy Valley is beautiful. Need the data capacity and a gimbal. Yeah, no, absolutely. The gimbal that we have is a DJI OM4. It's £140 as well. But also understanding camera framing and shots as well does help. But of course, there is, like I say, capacity to do that going forward.
I'll try. I'll get better.
No, I didn't mean you. I didn't mean you. There's always the gamble where somebody says, "I want to do it," and then they do it, and you're like, "Oh, we're looking at at their feet or something." Carry on to Salvo.
Well, they don't want perfection, do you? Because I remember when we did last year we were doing all the warm-ups for parkrun, and like we did kind of say, they don't have to be perfect, do they? Just as long as somebody rocks up and gives it a go.
Yeah.
They're generally enthusiastic, and we got 35 warm-ups recorded.
Yeah.
So from a mixture of people, and they were all great, weren't they, in their own special way?
Yeah, absolutely, they really are. But the trouble is, Helen, that I'm a perfectionist.
Yes.
So
I do know that. And I'm a bit of one of those myself, Danny. But sometimes you've got to let it go.
I know. Don't let was it perfect be the enemy of good? Yeah, I'm very much teaching myself that all the time. I'm reminding myself. People loving your stories about your park runs.
Oh, good. I've got another little one for you coming up. So John and Joe Cassels.
Yeah. Well, Joanne's, they're watching. They're watching.
They were on the original team here, Danny.
Yeah, they're watching, Helen.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Hello, John. Hello, John. So I'm sure John will correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm fairly sure that when we started, John was quite involved in the course, in the sort of knowing the course and the measurements. And he put on this bin here on the right-hand side in some coloured tape, one M for 1 mile. Fairly sure that's right. So they were on our team, and they did, and John used to do. Yeah, that's it. It's not there. Obviously not there now. It was on this side, I think. And John was run director quite a few times, and they both volunteered a lot. And I can remember, I think the first winter, they bought some lovely little bells and gave them out to all the park runners, and we ran round, so they jingled when we ran. And then, of course, they moved up north. So, love to you, John and Joe. Hope you well.
Yep. Yeah. I believe they are. We often get communications from them for the pod and lives every now and then, so they're doing okay, I think.
Good.
So windy. You've gone right into the winds now, haven't you? It's very windy from what we can hear on the mic.
Is it?
It's just racing around the corner now.
And then we've got these lovely signs, lots of lovely other courses, things you can do on this course as well. So this is like a Nottingham City park actually, and they've been really super supportive of us ever since day one. And this is a very unspoilt park and not really super used, I'd say, but until maybe lockdown. But we used to come here for like 9 years, and you'd see no one other than park runners for really. Yeah,
no, absolutely.
Oh, tense moment. Cyclists coming straight at us.
Where do we go? So how far from the start and finish area are we now?
Quite a long way now, because we've been
the other side.
So
We're half an hour.
With us, feel free to.
No, not at all. If the numbers suddenly drop off, we've had to lose a few people because they take this for their half-hour lunch break. We had to say goodbye to Kerry French, but some people certainly love to hang on. If the numbers suddenly dive bomb, then I'll let you know. But they're staying very constant, so we quite like having the chat, and the conversation, and the insight. It's nice to be reminded. When I was there, I think I wasn't feeling particularly well. If I remember rightly, I didn't run particularly well. I remember
it's quite a long time ago, wasn't it, when you came?
Very. So it's always nice to have these visual reiterations. I mean, because you do remember it. You remember them because your brain records it, as it were. But then having this reminder, it's lovely to see that. I think I was racing DS8 at the time. Me and him were having a bit of a ding dong.
Yeah.
During the run. So, okay.
Yeah, I like this part of the course. This is quite a nice little bend in the route.
Yes.
And we're going to come across another K sign soon.
Okay.
So
Carrie Ann Salvo.
So natural as well.
It is, and the naturalness is lovely because Carrie Ann Salvo, who's moved to Singapore, she loves to see
Yeah.
English parks again. It's helping her with the homesickness.
Oh, good. That's good. Yes, I've been seeing her nice tweets. She looks like she's staying in a nice place.
Okay.
But
Yes, cheers.
oh, I forgot what I was going to say now. It'll come back to me. Oh, I was going to say, we had said about earlier on about how Nottingham City Council have been very supportive.
Yep.
And then we had the same park manager here as well until, funnily enough, the very beginning of the lockdown. And then John Simpson's just retired, and we've got a new park manager in. So I came down between the lockdowns to have a walk around with him around the course and just talk about things, fill him in on the history of our park run here. And he seems really supportive. He's looking forward to getting going again. And I think we are thinking, or he's thinking, that we might not have car access to the park from, going forwards, because he's found that during lockdown, while he's had the barrier down and kept it pedestrian only, it's had a nice atmosphere.
Yep.
So we may have to make a few adjustments to things if that's the case, and that's kind of still under debate. So,
well, a couple of comments. John Frankson. Hello, John. Hi, Danny and Helen and Gabby. Chipping Sodbury Park Run here. So hello to John. Hello there.
Hello, Chipping Sodbury. I know you as well. Here's the 2K marker.
Yes, 2K marker. Stephen Garden, I'm waiting to see this famous road section. Do you remember that? Remember the road section when me and Tom came along and we were asking questions? We turned up many years ago. Stuart Brown was watching
the
on the
course
train.
was done before I came along, so I can't really comment on how it came about.
I know. Yeah, you told us that, certainly.
Because it's like a barriered park.
Yep.
This is we're on the large lake now.
Yep.
Because it was a barriered road, then it was always sort of considered that was why it was acceptable, I guess. We've never had a single touchwood issue in nearly 10 years.
I know.
And actually, when you're running along, and I've done, I don't know, just under 80 runs here, probably myself, and I've hardly ever had any cars come past me, with the exception occasionally of some people who've finished before me leaving. So,
did you know the Bushies course?
If the barrier thing comes into play, then we won't have any cars anyway.
Well, exactly. There you go. I mean, I remember the morning because me and Tom were warmed up, and then we went because they can't go through the road. We went over to you, and it was really windy, Gabby.
We just at the base there.
We're just sprinting.
Put your hand over the mic.
Sprint finish!
My absolute most favourite part of the entire course. Just coming over that little tiny lump of a hill, benches on the left, running back down into the trees. We've had a little jog there, Danny, just for you.
Say that again, sorry?
We've had a little jog just then.
Oh, you did, to get out the window. Yeah, I did notice. I appreciate that. I respect that. Thank you very much indeed. Oh, John Frankson's having a chat with me. You interviewed my co-event director, Helen, Danny. I did indeed, John. I remember it well. And then carry on talking about Singapore. Louise West is watching whilst parked up at a Scotch corner en route back to Nottingham. And then unlimited data and the gimbal. Yeah. So people asking about unlimited data. Yes, Gabby does have unlimited data now. Changed the contract. She uses the gimbal and data for work as well. Okay. Super. I want to start carrying it. Super noisy. Gabby, is there any way you can put your hand over the mic on the bottom of the camera?
Is that helping?
A
little. I don't know. It's not so at the moment. Might be. Yes. Now it does. Yes, it does.
Quite calm.
Yeah.
It's really picking us up now from the right-hand side.
Yeah. Coming out of that in a minute.
Okay, that's better. Okie dokie.
So we're just coming down towards the road now.
Right. So should we get to the road and then call it a day there? Because that's the point of interest, and then it brings us into 35 minutes, roughly, just over. Shall we do that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Don't get me started on Lord Byron and those kinds of things. I think we'll stop with the road, right?
Yeah. I've been reading loads of D.H. Lawrence during lockdown, and that's been really good, like to learn more about Nottingham history. I've enjoyed it. Right, so here, this is where it pops out sort of towards the road. So usually we have a marshal here. So we have a marshal here. And then anything coming way. You don't even proof on that way. And they're sort of guiding people to come round to there. And you just hug around the side of there until you go through the barrier. And then you've got to sort of the pathy bit.
Yep.
So just here on the left-hand side, Danny, there's like a fisherman's lodge and a little sort of cafe now. So when we come in the morning as volunteers, we arrive at about 10 to 8, and then whoever's in charge that day, the run director, pops in there and picks up the defib.
Yep.
And then we have it at the finish line until we finish, and then we drop it back in on the way out.
Yep.
So here we are. We're at the top
There we
of
go.
the big lake. So we just pop in there then, Gaby, for to finish. So there we go. We'll give you a view of the lovely lake, shall we, before we go?
Whoa!
Oh, you're right. Didn't go over, did it?
Nice puddles. Whoa!
Oh, crikey. Oh, can you go onto the jetty? You're allowed on there.
Yep, we're going to go to the jetty, but we're not going to fall in.
Don't dive in, fall in there, please don't. It's iced as well a little bit. Wonderful shot. Wonderful shot.
Yeah,
Come on,
I'm coming.
go a little bit. Not too far. Don't fall off the end, whatever you do, please.
How about that? How's that for a finishing shot?
Lovely. It's actually perfect. Slightly wonky, but perfect. That's better. There we go. Look at that. Ideal. That is amazing. Oh, there you go.
Pretty
Thank
lovely
you.
today.
Yeah, very pretty and lovely. Thank you, everybody. Big praise for you. Well, before we go, lovely to hear Helen and Gaby. Thank you both, Danny. And Helen, thank you. Taking it now. What a stunning job. Oh, there we go. Right. Take care, everyone.
Okay, thanks for having us, Danny. Really enjoyed it. I hope it's been okay for you. Take care.
Be perfect. Don't go anywhere when I enter the live broadcast. I'll have a quick chat with you before you go. All right, see you later. Bye. Bye.